So we gather here tonight to lean in to the fierce urgency of now, which is the theme of our gala. We gather here tonight in a sober-minded way in the face of extraordinary challenges, not just in Washington, D.C., but right here in New Jersey, as the video makes plain, a state that has some of the starkest black to white racial disparities in America. And at the Institute, we are clear that these racial disparities reflect a system of oppression that is by design. As a result, then, we are charged with the awesome responsibility of fashioning a system of liberation to overcome the system of oppression, and that work begins from the ground up in our communities, not from Washington, D.C. down. For 2 decades, the Institute has been advocating to meet the fierce urgency of now and to build that system in order to make real the promises of democracy for people of color here in New Jersey. 20 years ago, Amy and Alan Lowenstein established a powerful founding board of trustees, including their sons, John and Roger, here with us tonight, and their families. One of this year's honorees, Ted Wells. Zulema Farber, Melville Miller, John Degnan, and Richard Roper, who also joins us tonight. And including several members who are no longer with us. The former U.S. Attorney General Nicholas Katzenbach, Dr. Bob Kervin, and Judge Dickinson Debevoise. And our board chair who opened us up tonight, Doug Eakley. And as he mentioned, Doug Eakley in turn hired our first legal intern, Senator Cory Booker, who received our National Social Justice Award. At our founding, Alan Lowenstein determined that the Institute had to be, quote, totally independent. Without that independence, he said, there would be pressure on the Institute that would influence the Institute's positions brought to bear by a number of folks, including state administrations. 20 years later, the Institute's independence is central to who we are, and it inspires all of our work. Indeed, because we are independent, we recently championed the passage of automatic voter registration in New Jersey, the $15 minimum wage, an independent prosecutor bill, the defeat of a problematic redistricting bill, sweeping apprenticeship reform that's making its way quickly through the legislature, and the transformation of policing and youth justice in New Jersey. As Andrea mentioned in the video last month, more than 500 people, many of you are in the room tonight, locked arms in a powerful expression around a proposed and now defeated youth prison site here in Newark. Folks locked arms all the way across South Orange Avenue, down Grove Street, and across 14th Avenue to urge New Jersey to make deep investments in building kids of color, not in building prisons for them in Newark or anywhere else in New Jersey. But we recognize that the fierce urgency of now requires us to do more. The promises of democracy will remain illusory until people of color in New Jersey are able to overcome the load-bearing walls of structural racial inequality. Until we ensure that people of color live in a society that respects their humanity. Until we create reparative systems that build wealth in communities of color separated from it. Until we fundamentally transform New Jersey's shameful youth and adult criminal justice systems. And until we build a powerful democracy that restores voting rights to nearly 100,000 people, including our colleague Ronald Pierce, who are denied that precious right because of a criminal conviction. the importance of speaking truth to power reminds me of a story that my pastor, Philip Gilmore, who opened us up tonight, said about the role of truth tellers in a society. He said that truth tellers use their voices to make sure that people in positions of power are held accountable to the people. The truth tellers stand with people in positions of power when they're doing right by the people. And this, of course, people in positions of power love. But because truth tellers will also hold people in positions of power accountable, the truth tellers will also be disliked by people in positions of power. Bernice King recently said this about her father. At the time my father was killed, a poll reflected that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the most hated man in America. Most hated. Many who quote my father now and use him to deter justice would likely hate him too if they really knew him. Dr. King's example teaches us that whether disliked or beloved, truth tellers are, by their very nature, required to tell the truth because they too are accountable to the people. And that's who we are in this room. That's who we are at the Institute for Social Justice. Truth tellers. And so as truth tellers, and as we celebrate 20 years, it's important to be committed to this particular truth, that because the system is going to be the system, the truth tellers must be the voice for the people. No matter how uncomfortable it may make some people in positions of power, the people, inspired by the fierce urgency of now, must remain committed to building systems that make the promises of democracy real for those too long denied access to them. And with your continued partnership, the Institute for Social Justice will be here until we make real those promises. Thank you for standing with us. God bless you, and thank you for coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President and CEO of the Institute, Ryan P. Haygood.